Good morning and welcome back. The homeless crisis is hitting many cities hard, including Seattle and other major cities all around the Puget Sound region. But a new project by the Seattle Times premiering today is aimed at personalizing it as more than just an issue.
It is really a remarkable project. Portraits of homelessness, raw, gripping presentation, 22 people homeless in our area who all agreed to share their own stories and then be photographed as part of this project to literally write it in their own words. It's out in Pacific Northwest Magazine ahead of an event tonight, and the two creators of the project are here with us right now, writer Tyrone Beason and photographer Erika Schultz. Good morning. Good morning. This project is just really remarkable. How did the idea sort of spring up to do something like this?
It was pretty natural. I live in the Pioneer Square downtown area, and the homeless community is kind of like my neighbors. These are the folks on my block, in a way. And I wanted to find a way to express that as a journalist, to kind of humanize what an experience that I have every day when people say hello to me in the street, but who are actually living on the street, behind cardboard or in tents. And that really struck me as a rich story, perhaps, because typically we sort of move past this community and try not to look, and often pass quick judgments about the folks who are living in these conditions. For me, these are the folks who say hi every morning. And so I wanted to combine journalism with a kind of walk through a neighborhood. So we chose areas in the southern edge of downtown, Soto and around I-90, and visited encampments and asked people if they wanted to share their thoughts and feelings. I thought it'd be great to do it in the format of a journal, to take journalism back to a very pure state in a way, and have people write their own comments so that these life stories would be in their own words, in their own script, and they would be able to leave an imprint on us and on this community at a very difficult time as we figure out how to make sure that everyone has a comfortable space to live in this community.
It really takes down the barriers of the story so that we're hearing directly from them, and the pictures are so raw and captivating. I'm assuming, and there's a reason that we chose black and white photos to go along with the journalism portion of the project and the journaling. What was that like for you from your perspective with the pictures?
Well, we wanted to differentiate our coverage in the magazine from the newspaper. So we took black and white portraits, and we really wanted to make the experience collaborative. We really wanted to ask people, like, where do you want to be photographed and how do you want to be photographed? And I worked with some of the people to choose the exact images that are in the journal. And I brought like a small battery-operated printer, and I was able to make prints for people along the way. Wow. And so it was, for us, as a photographer, it was really gratifying to be able to give that back to somebody.
It's almost like you're removing some layers of the journalism machine between these folks who don't have that kind of access and the access that you have. And that's pretty remarkable.
Well, you know, the idea, again, is to put the writing in the hands of the writer. It's something that we often don't do in journalism because we tend to filter quite a bit when we take those stories back to our newsrooms. This is an attempt to say, look, whatever you have to say, this is your opportunity, and we'll respect that. And to operate without judgment and without filters is counterintuitive in some ways in this business, but I think it builds a different kind of relationship with the community. And it's very empowering when you tell someone that they get the chance to tell their own story, to help to arrange for their presentation visually as well. People's eyes light up, and I think that that's very important for us to remember that these are life stories that could be our own, but for a trick of fate. And so I always walked away from these encounters feeling as if the roles could have been switched. And what decisions would I have made had I had these hardships? And I hope that that comes through in the project.
How else did it reframe for you the way that we view homelessness as, and I put issue in quotes because sometimes when we only refer to it in that way, we forget some of these personal stories. In particular, the first quote that jumped out to me was a couple who told you and wrote, "Anybody can end up homeless. We never thought it would be us." That's such a powerful statement, and you have 22 stories that echo that powerfulness. What did you walk away from anew, and what are you hoping that readers and viewers walk away from?
I just spoke with a formerly homeless woman who saw the project and is very impressed by the approach, who said, look, nobody plans to do this, and which seems obvious, right? But again, I think it's easy to make judgments about the folks in the communities. We had so many stories expressed to us, and there are many avenues towards a tent or a tarp or an RV, living in the woods or under an overpass. And it really humanizes that experience. bad luck, bad decisions, healthcare issues. There's quite a number of ways that people become homeless, and there's quite a number of ways that we make it difficult for people to rise out of homelessness once it happens. And that's a question that we all have to address very honestly, but also with a sense of mercy and compassion, I believe.
It's a beautiful project in the Pacific Northwest Magazine, online already. But I want you to talk about the event really briefly. We only have a couple of seconds, but if you could tell us about tonight, Erika?
Of course. So tonight we'll be having a panel discussion with Ross Reynolds of KUOW and two of our reporters, Daniel Beekman and Vernal Coleman. And we'll be having a panel event discussing the issue, and then also we'll have the journals enlarged, and they'll be on display on the 3rd floor of the library.
Wow. So actually getting to physically see the journals and touch them and hold them and read them for yourself in a way that you don't get to do necessarily with these kind of writings. It's amazing.
Well, thank you very much for having us today.
This
really
is a
appreciate
beautiful
it.
project. Erika and Tyrone, thank you again for sharing it with us. We encourage all of you to check it out. Again, it's out right now. You can go and view it through the Seattle Times. And again, that event is happening tonight from 7 to 9, as we mentioned earlier. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Back to you guys.
Well, still ahead this